feel like stand-up, when you're doing it well, it's like a mixture of thinking at a super high level, but also not thinking at all. Where part of your brain is like, okay, I could put this joke in. They didn't like that, so I'll try that. Wait, they like dirty jokes, so maybe this, but that joke's too dirty. But then also like be out of your head too.
Too dirty. I'm dying to. I'm never gonna make you tell your own jokes here, but I'm like dying to know the joke that you tell where you go, definitely. Too
I don't
dirty.
think I have any jokes that are too dirty.
Yeah, because I feel like I know. I don't know all of your stuff, but I know a fair bit of it, and it's always very fun. But like I can't think of anything in my head where I'm like, Drew said what?
The hell is wrong with him?
Ew.
By the way, is this the podcast yet, or are we still just chatting?
Yeah, guess we're on.
Oh, okay. See, I thought you were going to be like, okay, now we're starting the podcast.
Well, I think we have. Well, now that we have started, how does it feel being in it? You've been in it for a minute.
I feel bamboozled because I didn't know I was being recorded yet. I feel violated.
Well, here's the thing. We were going to ask you for your credit card number, but you then had to ask if we're in it, and now I can't do it.
Oh, shit.
But this is as good a time as any to actually introduce the tea we're drinking because now we're in it. So for those of us steeping at home, because our steepers steep at home with us because they're lovely people, we are drinking Bird & Blend's Deckchair Dreaming, which is so good. It's kind of like a fruity chamomile energy. It steeps at boiling. I steeped it for 7 minutes. It's snortable. Steep however your heart desires. How are you liking it? You've already tried it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like I said, I like tea. I don't know a lot about it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Like I don't know the different kinds but every tea I've had, I've been a fan of.
You know, it's funny. We have some people on here who very much give us a response like you, which is like, hey, I'm open to it. I enjoy it. I just don't know a lot. And then we have other people who are like, it tastes like someone soaked pennies in water. I hate it. Do you not, so in the mornings, you're a coffee guy?
I'm typically a coffee guy or a Red Bull guy. I've been trying to wean off caffeine, but I've been trying on and off for years, but it's just so hard to give up caffeine.
Red Bull's like choosing violence to me.
Yeah.
In the morning, you're in the morning. You're rolling out of bed, presumably maybe you're working out, maybe you're showering, but like when you're getting started in your day, you're like, let me crack a Red Bull?
Yeah.
You're insane.
And I don't know, you know what it was? So I used to have coffee every morning. And then at one point, my coffee, machine was broken, so I got a Red Bull because I wanted caffeine.
Okay.
And then I just became a Red Bull guy. And I used to hate the taste of Red Bull.
I do.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's addictive. Apparently, they'll drop off free cases of Red Bull to college campuses because they know they can get you addicted if it's free.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. A friend told me that, and I believed it.
But here's the thing. I believe you. So if you believe him,
it's
and
just
I believe you.
Chain reaction of lies.
Yeah, it's weird because I was so sure the Earth was round, and then I met you, and a lot of people who are listening don't know this. You convinced me the Earth was flat, and I was like,
It is, by the way. Google it.
That's a very Drew Landry thing. I want everyone to associate your name with the fact that the Earth is flat.
Please know that.
No, but what we were talking about off mic, that you are from Baltimore, and I do find, being a New Yorker, that like I think I relate more to East Coast comics, which is probably 100% in my head and all bullshit. But I feel like anytime I meet an East Coaster, I'm like, oh, what up, real Coast? How are you? You know, like that.
I get that.
Like, how long have you been out here?
I've been out here. I came here in late 2016, so 8 years.
Long?
Yeah.
Or not?
Wait, no, late 2015, so almost 9 years.
Okay. Okay. I don't consider myself an Angelino. I like it here very much. But if someone's like, what are you? I'm like, a New Yorker. Do you consider yourself an Angelino, or you're like, I'm Baltimore pride? Or going back to Chicago?
Honestly, it's weird. I consider myself Baltimore. I consider myself an East Coaster. Okay. But if I had to choose, I think I prefer living in LA.
I mean, how can you? It's easier.
Yeah, I love it here.
Life is easy here.
There are no flaws to living here.
Yeah,
people, nothing.
Absolutely not. Like you can people are like traffic. I'm like, yeah, more of an opportunity to take in the city.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm just lowering my windows and like, L.A. You know,
I can't get enough of it.
The 405 just is beautiful, it's scenic.
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've given up. I've given myself to the issues of L.A. I've given myself up to it.
You're happier when you do.
I really don't.
Wherever you live, there's going to be downsides and upsides. It's 100%. Just about, do the upsides outweigh the downsides? And I feel like they mostly do here.
I think so.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Someone can, you can have someone swinging an axe outside of your house. This happened 2 nights ago where I live. You can have that. And you can also have, what you think are gunshots nearby that happened probably about 6-7 nights ago, and that was not the fireworks of July 4th. You can have all those things, and you can also be in a lot of traffic and all this kind of stuff, and then see a road rage incident, with some guy just punching someone on the ground outside of his car. That was about 3 weeks ago. You could see these things, but when you're in the sunshine, do any of them matter?
Yeah.
No.
You need to move, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The other thing, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is correct about you, is that you write. Mm-hmm. And I believe one thing we have in common is you are a hip-hop fan.
Yes.
How does one get into, because this is baffling to me, how does one get into comedy hip-hop writing? That seems like oddly a tiny little niche.
Yeah, unbelievably tiny niche. It all kind of happened organically. So for years, I wrote the humor section for our rap website called DJ Booth. That was my job for years. But the way that came about is I was writing articles on Medium, if you know Medium.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like YouTube for writing. Anyone can put something up. And I was writing a lot of satire articles and a lot of articles about rap because those are the two things I like, and a lot of them intersected. So they were just funny articles about rappers. And I wrote one that went viral out of nowhere and became a meme. It was, I have a theory that Donald Glover and Childish Gambino are secretly the same person.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This is in 2016, I want to say.
And some people actually were probably like, he is though.
Yeah. Oh, a lot. You would be surprised. The most obvious satire, people won't get it. They'll be like, it is it. What do you like? There was another one. This isn't rap related, but when Charles Manson died, I wrote something like, I discovered that Charles Manson has cult allegations or something like trying to cancel the recently dead.
I saw that.
And people are like, "What? That's what he was famous for, you idiot." And it's so fun to watch. But my favorite thing is when people know but they do play along. On the Childish Gambino article, someone just said, "This feels racist." And that was
But that is amazing. By the way, it's funny that you said Childish Gambino. I don't know if you know what the sweatshirt that I'm wearing here.
Oh, I mean, I picked up that's the name of a Gambino song. I didn't realize it was a Gambino.
This is a shirt. It's a tour sweatshirt from.
Oh, hell yeah, nice.
From back end, but that's nuts. Okay, wait. So you write that article, and obviously there were a bunch of clonkers out there who are just like, what? But other people who got it were just like, come write for us.
Yeah. So DJ Booth found the article and they emailed me and we talked on the phone, and they asked me if I wanted to start and write their humor section, and that's kind of just how it started.
You were starting their humor section.
Yeah, because it was mostly just a typical, not typical, but a normal music website with interviews and reviews of albums and a lot of think pieces. They were known for their editorials and think pieces, but they didn't have satire articles and asked me to start a humor section. And that's so it all kind of fell into place organically.
I can't believe that it's one thing. It's already a compliment if someone's like, come write for our humor section. Is that a compliment, not a whole other level when someone's like, come start our humor section? You're like, I'm so good. They want to build their foundation on me. My God. Were you just like, all right, what do you pay? Sounds good? Or
oh, yeah. I mean, well, I was already a fan of the site, too.
Okay.
And a year before, I had submitted to them, trying to write for them, but just to write normal, serious think pieces. I wrote an editorial that I submitted to a few websites that was serious. It wasn't satirical, and they never got back to me. And then, a year later, they contact me to write a humor section. But I think it's such a specific niche that I was their only humor writer. It's not like I recruited other ones.
That was going to be my literal next question was I'm shocked you didn't go to all your comedy friends.
Yeah, I'm putting together a team.
It's kind of
like a montage.
It's like Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to need one.
Son of a bitch.
We're going to need one Tarvella. We're going to need what, that kind of thing. So you just did the whole thing on your own the whole time.
Yeah.
Are you still doing it?
No, it stopped during COVID. But in terms of hip-hop writing, for a while after that, for a year or two, I wrote for this YouTube page called Hip Hop Madness.
Wait a minute. I think I know that, too. That sounds super familiar. I love hip-hop.
It's like video essays and stuff.
Yep. Definitely seen that. And so were you writing satire for them too?
Oh no, those were just normal video essays.
Oh, you're like, okay, let me actually talk you through the Drake and Kendrick beef. Like, let me take you
stuff like that,
or the Drake and Meek beef, or the Drake and Travis beef, or the
just everybody hating. Drake.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, listen, they say that you die a hero or you live long enough to be Drake. I mean, I think that's what people.
That's the quote.
That's what people say.
Yeah,
I think. My challenge with all these beefs, number one, I don't eat meat, but the challenge with all these beefs, truly a terrible dad joke.
God damn it.
Terrible dad joke. My problem with all these beefs is like, it makes it less like you inherit whoever's losing the beef, you inherit the shame if you're listening to the loser's music.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah.
I like Drake. And
he's talented.
Yeah, but like if I'm listening to, whatever the fuck, if I'm listening to like Thank You Later or something like that, like really back before the beef.
Oh, way before.
And then someone hears it, they go, you're getting bodied, dude.
Yeah, it's like, what? I'm not Drake.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not him. They're like, A minor. And I'm like, that's not me. That's not me.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
My question is, do you think, because I can't decide, do you think Drake can come back from this? Because I feel like he can, but he can never fully come back from this. I feel like there's always going to be an asterisk next to his name.
My feeling on that is like, look at okay. Like, Dave Chappelle went after trans people, and then he was selling out Madison Square Garden. Ricky Gervais was not original. He decided to go for trans people, too. And then he was selling out all these places as well. Like, Jerry Seinfeld came out saying comedy's too politically correct, and everyone who does all this shit, you're all woke, and I hate it. And he's selling arenas. I'm not nervous for Drake. I don't know if he's going to be...
But on that, sorry to interrupt.
No, go interrupt.
Do you think there's a chance that Drake tries to be an anti-woke guy now?
No, he can't.
Yeah,
can he?
I have no idea.
You think
the reason I think it's wild is because there have been plenty of celebrities that obviously came back from these things that were accused of awful things or did awful things.
Right.
But to me, it's a different level when there's a catchy song about you being a pedophile. You know that, like, my mom knows this song.
Yeah, they're not like us. The problem with They're Not Like Us is like it's people don't listen to it because it's a diss track. They listen to it because it's good.
It's good. It's catchy. It's really funny.
It's like, it reminds me of like Ether was a track where people weren't listening to Ether. For those that are not familiar, like the original, not the original, but like one of the biggest rap beefs in history was Jay-Z and Nas. Mm-hmm. Every song, Takedown, every song,
Takeover.
Takeover. Every song in that beef was great,
amazing.
Yeah, like you made it a hot line and made it a hot song.
Oof.
Like, I mean, come on, like that, all this stuff. It was so amazing, and you listened because the songs were good. A lot of the diss tracks now these days are bad, but like They're Not Like Us.
Yeah,
it's great. It's really catchy.
My jaw dropped when I heard the A minor line.
I mean, it's phenomenal.
Because I don't know if you felt this way, but I've been a Drake fan for years, but I'd heard the rumors about him being a creep for years. So as soon as the Drake and Kendrick stuff started, I was wondering, is it countdown till Kendrick calls him a pedophile? Like, it's right there.
If that were a countdown, that countdown went quick.
Yeah,
I was like, they dropped the ball at 8 there. Yeah. They're like 10, 9. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, he's Millie Bobby Brown. He's done.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. I don't know if and this may be my own ignorance of your material. Do you do jokes about hip hop?
I do a few. I used to do way more, but then people would lovingly like do bits to me about how I have too many bits about hip hop. So I tried to like scale it down a tiny bit.
People would do like audience or like comics?
Oh, comics. Like they'd get on stage and be like, whatever. Can't wait to hear Drew's Eminem joke tonight or stuff like that. Friends of mine, like good-natured roasting, but I wanted to prove them wrong.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, you would pick up the mic, look right at him, and be like, "Fuck you, Andy Ryder,"
yeah.
and just and get that out. No, that I have that issue. I mean, I remember once someone came up to me, a comic who I was not friends with, mind you, by the way. I was out of town. We had no relationship with this person. I just met them in the green room. And they go, "Oh, you do a lot of jokes about your life, huh?" And I was like, "What do you,
should I do them about your life?"
I said, "What were you hoping for?" They were like, "Oh, just like I didn't know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like a lot of anecdotes." And I was like, "Okay, great. I don't know what, and I literally said this, I go, I don't know what to take from this interaction. Like, what do you want me to say?
What an insane note.
I don't know. Like, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know. I stopped doing these like rando jokes because, like, not rando jokes. I stopped doing jokes that didn't have anything to do with me because I saw a comic who I'm not going to name who stole a joke of mine and did it almost word for word, but made it so much worse.
Oh.
And I was just like, no, that's my joke. And I was like very annoyed. And a friend of mine was just like, hey, happens, write a better joke. And I was like, yeah, like I don't want to fucking do that. I loved that joke. So if I just write jokes about myself, like,
you want to ideally have jokes that only work when you tell them.
Yeah.
Because it's about you.
Right. That joke was amazing. And someone stole it. Do you think about that when you're writing jokes, or you just go like, fuck it, I'll write about whatever I want?
I've come up with jokes that I liked, but I just realized there's no way this hasn't been said before. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Where it's just like, I feel when a joke is too easy to come up with. Does that make sense? But you're like, there's no way I'm the first person to say this. I'm afraid of parallel. I'm afraid of looking like I stole something.
Yeah, but I thought your joke about dating and then your other joke about airplanes were both like so
about how dating's hard in LA.
Yeah, of course. And then
I'm the first person to say that, by the way.
No,
and I think the only.
I've not heard it.
Yeah, it's a scolding hot take.
It is burning my mouth.
Someone had to finally say it.
Yeah, and I remember you talked about airports, and I was just like, this guy, he's tapped into the human psyche.
Yeah,
you know?
In a way no one else has.
His finger's on the pulse.
But yeah, I used to have a joke that was about airports. It was about TSA, and the punchline ended in like. The last punchline was a meta thing, making fun of myself for doing a TSA joke.
Oh, Jesus.
But when I would do it in front of a lot of comics, I would understandably, justifiably lose them before I got to that punchline and couldn't win them back just because it's like, dude, another TSA joke, like, come on.
The other thing, by the way, that and we do a little research on our guests ahead of time with my lovely producer, and the thing that I did not know about you, and please tell me if this is wrong, that you, right after graduating high school, went on tour?
Yes, yeah.
Now, maybe I have the comic wrong here. You went on tour with Carlos Mencia?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I know is very controversial.
Well, what's your take? You know the guy. I mean, how many dates did you do with him? I know him well.
Oh, I toured with him for years on and off.
Are you serious?
Yes. So I met him when I was 17. He came to a club in Baltimore, and I was at the club, and we ended up talking, and he thought it was cool that I was a 17-year-old doing comedy. So he asked if I wanted to do a guest spot in D.C. the next night. So I do the guest spot, and then he said that when I graduate, he wants me to take me on the road because he really liked my stuff. So I graduated. He took me on the road on and off for years. And it's interesting because when in case you don't know, I'm sure everyone knows.
Give some background.
Carlos Mencia very famously got canceled for stealing jokes. I don't know why I'm saying it to the camera.
You
it's no longer like my fellow Americans.
Yeah. Listen, when Drew runs for president, he's going to be good looking down the barrel.
My whole platform is defending Carlos Mencia.
I wasn't going to say anything, but that's always what it's been like to me. Yeah.
But so when he got canceled, when he got called out for stealing with Joe Rogan and all that, I didn't know him yet. I met him in 2011 after he had kind of had his downfall for the most part.
Got it.
And the way he always talked about it with me is he would essentially just be very humble. He'd be like, at the height of my fame, I was an asshole to a lot of people. I did a lot of shitty things. I was just a piece of shit. And I got what I deserved, and I'm okay with it. So he's always been very, very, very humble about it.
I would have thought he would have been like, I didn't do that. I didn't steal jokes. That's all bullshit. But he literally just goes, yeah, I did it, and I'm sorry I did it.
He never straight up told me he did it or didn't do it. He just said he was a prick and was awful to other comics.
It's interesting. I feel like a lot of things in the world right now don't allow for gray area.
Exactly. There's no nuance.
There's no nuance. Because here's the thing. From what you're describing to me, it seems like it's fair for there to be a place where you can say, I agree with you. I think that, from what I've heard, I think you were a dick, and I think what you did was terrible, but also seeing the way that you are handling this and the way that you're responding to it and the way that you're growing from it, I don't hold any of that. I can make space for that and make space for the fact that it seems like you have really you've done a master class in how you've kind of grown and come back from this.
He truly has.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. It's really admirable. And a lot of people don't know just how much he helps young comics or loves to help young comics. Like, there's a lot of great comics that he, for lack of a better word, this might be the wrong word, but helped out and took on the road. Like Joe Coy, Brad Williams.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Pablo Francisco, a bunch of others. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Big names, yeah.
But yeah, I'll always defend him. I will never defend joke stealing, obviously, but I'll defend him as a guy who accepted the consequences of his actions and was, didn't make excuses for himself.
The issue is that no one makes space to hear the part of the story. Not that it's not your responsibility to tell it,
exactly.
But no one makes place for the idea that there could be more to the story than they know.
Yes, or no one wants to make space for the apology. A lot of people like living in a world where he never apologized and he doubled down and he's an asshole who still denies it, but that's not the truth. But people don't want to hear that because people, and this isn't just with Mencia, this is just in general, I think when we decide someone is a villain, we don't want to change our mind. Or when we decide someone's a good person, we have an idea of somebody and we're just like, I can't ever change that.
Well, because I think that people, this is my own take, but I think that what people must think is, if I thought this person was a hero and now I think they're a villain, or I thought this person was a villain and now I think that they can be good, people tend to think, oh, this means that I have to say I was wrong.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't mean.
It
literally just can mean your opinion changed.
And not only that, but we have the right to be wrong. You know 100%.
What I mean? Listen, being in
I'm
a relationship,
wrong all the time.
I know I'm told I'm wrong all the time.
There's nothing wrong with being wrong.
If being wrong were a job, I'd be a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm the Michael Jordan of being wrong at things.
Listen, I would say I'm more the LeBron. Like, I'm not the GOAT, but like people talk about me.
People compare you to me with being wrong.
People have said
he's not as wrong as Drew is.
You're close to Drew. You just miss it. I'm like, damn it. No, but I think that it's interesting also when I look at, and again, please correct me if any of this information is wrong, but when I look at the people that you have toured with, they're all dramatically different. Yeah. So like the names that I know of, and again, tell me if these are wrong, but like you went from Carlos Mencia, Dana Gould is in there, and Eliza Schlesinger is in there. Three, I would argue, people, you could not find three more different personalities than those three. My interactions, I've met Dana once. It was nothing but like super friendly. He was just like a very nice guy, very humble. Was like kind of there to do his thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Eliza was the most all business kind of person I've run into in a long time, which doesn't mean that she's not a good person, not friendly, not funny. It means that like she was not there to make friends. She was there to do a job. She did her job and she got out.
Yeah.
I'm curious from your perspective as someone who had a closer, I don't know if you toured with the other two as often as you toured with Mencia, but like what were the differences with those two?
Big differences, not just with how they approach comedy, but just the audiences too. Like the audiences for all three couldn't be more different of crowds.
I assume you took lessons from all of them.
Oh, 100%. Both from advice they'd give or just like watching them work. I remember with Eliza, I had this joke that was my closer. It was a story, and the last punchline would get a huge laugh, like an applause break, a great closer. But the last part of the story wasn't true, so then I'd add a tag where I'd be like, nah, that last part wasn't true. And it would get like a mild like, but Eliza would be like, you don't need to say it's not true. Just end on the big laugh. They don't care if you say if it's true or not. And I thought that was interesting. That was helpful.
It's great. And I'm guessing when you started doing that, like the applause and the laughter carried you off the stage.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was basically like, you could have been carried by this applause. You don't need to step on your own momentum.
Going from all that shit, I also wonder, because you and I do a lot of, we do the same shows and the same mics and all this stuff. LA is not that big of a city. Like, do you go in to do a fucking like bar show for 20 people and go, all right, this is a different show, just as important as the shows I was doing in front of hundreds of people. This is fine. Do you ever like in your mind go, fuck?
It's a roller coaster where I feel like the way comedy is, at least with me, I'll have a show that makes me feel like a rock star, and then the universe is like, whoa, calm down. We got to give him the worst show of his life right now.
I did a show for it was like 250 people, and I was like, I felt like I was king of the world. Okay,
Yeah.
I did 20 minutes in front of this group. They loved it. I loved it. We were in sync. I was like, this is why I do this. I'm not kidding when I tell you. A week later, I did a show at, where was it? It wasn't the Hollywood Hotel, but it was just the same. I kid you not when I tell you, none of them were facing me.
Oof.
And one person looked at me during a joke that was wonderful, looked at me for a second, thought about it, and then decided to turn back around again. And I was like, this is great.
That is soul crushing. I will say, shout out to the Hollywood Hotel, Mike. I always said every time I was at the Hollywood Hotel, it was the new worst set of my life. It's like, I've probably already had the worst set. Nope, it's tonight.
No, it's
this
here.
It's
here now. Rafa's was another place I would just have the worst sets of all time.
Years ago in Baltimore, I did 2 shows in this club as the host, back to back, like 7 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Sure.
And the 7 p.m., not exaggerating, one of the best shows of my life. 9 p.m., not exaggerating, one of the worst bombs of my life. And it was the same thing where after the first show, I was like, this is why I do it, man. I keep getting better. This is such a good feeling. And then after the second show, I'm like, I think I'm going to kill myself tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll bet it was the same material.
It was the same exact material,
yeah.
same sized crowd.
Yup.
Like, just, I don't know. Sometimes a crowd just doesn't like you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I relate to that crowd.
Yeah.
Specifically your late crowd in that show. No, I'm kidding. No, it's tough. Also, like, I don't know how often you're doing this with your comedy. But like when you bare your soul on stage, if you bare your soul on stage, you really go deep, and you're just like, hey, like this is my life. I've done this. Like. I in my set right now, I talk about, going to therapy from having PTSD, like all this stuff. And man, bombing with that shit, you're just like, yo, they don't fucking like me.
Yes. It goes from they don't like my jokes to they don't like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you do, it's so difficult doing vulnerable material like that, because when it bombs, it's 1,000 times worse.
Or the worst thing of all time is when you get aw.
You're like, oh no, this is becoming a one-man show.
Don't awe me.
Yeah.
I don't want awes.
That's literally the opposite of what I'm trying to do.
That's the last thing I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel bad for me, I'm not doing my job. Just don't laugh.
I'd rather hear silence than an awe.
Yeah, I'm used to hearing silence.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that.
It feels safe to me.
It really
It's
does.
home.
I hate to say this because I want to keep talking, but we should probably get to the first segment. Are you ready for the new friend game? So the first segment is the Newly Friend game. It's like the Newlywed game, but we're friends. Pick up your whiteboard there, and I have that paper towels to help you erase.
Cool.
So the way this works, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write your answer down. Don't say it out loud. I'm going to write down what I think your answer could be, and we're going to flip our boards and see if we got the same answer, and then we'll do the same question for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So the question for you, because I don't often get hip-hop fans on the podcast, so I'm going to tap into the hip-hop piece because I also love hip-hop. So don't say it out loud. Write it down. If you were starting the Landry Fest, your own festival, you could have it anywhere. It's a big music festival, and you need to pick your hip-hop headliner. Without saying it out loud, write it down. Who are you picking? 1, 2, 3. Flip. Oh, you said Lil Wayne. I said J. Cole. Ugh. Okay.
I do love J. Cole,
but I just don't feel like I was close. So tell me. So Lil Wayne is an interesting choice. Lil Wayne obviously had one of the hottest heaters in history.
Mm-hmm.
He went full Trump. Did that affect your Lil Wayne fanhood?
A little bit. Oddly enough, not as much as it did with Kanye, but I think Kanye, and granted, Kanye's a Nazi now. That's like the Trump thing. We're well past that.
Yeah, oh sure.
The Wayne thing is weird, and there's something dark about it in that Trump gave him a pardon. He was facing like 10 years in prison for gun charges for like an unregistered gun.
I don't think I knew that part.
Huh?
I don't think I knew there was a pardon involved.
This is almost becoming a conspiracy theory. There's a theory I have. There are lyrics at the beginning of Trump's term, small like little lines where Wayne is criticizing Trump.
Sure.
And then in 2020, he became a Trump supporter and got a pardon. My question, I wonder if Trump told him, I'll pardon you if you endorse me.
Jeez.
I have no idea, by the way. That's a theory.
Yeah, and by the way, on your Kanye comment, I won't listen to Kanye anymore. I've taken him on. I used to listen to him every day.
Oh, he used to be my favorite.
Yeah, can't.
It's so
can't and won't. Yeah, interesting. I did not think about the fact that there's a pardon involved. you know, it just struck me as weird. It struck me as
it
weird.
is. Yeah. I think the other thing is, and this isn't an insult to him, I don't care that much about Lil Wayne's political opinions. You know what I mean?
Sure. I regularly say in our house a line that both of us repeat. Me and Jess, we go, "What's his name? Not important." And just like because it's just crazy town. It's on Truffle Butter. If anyone wants to know where that's from, go listen to it. Interesting. Okay, but you said you do like J. Cole, so I wasn't so far off on J. Cole. All right, so let's do the same question for me. So you can erase that answer. You know, I here's what I'm gonna tell you. I think I'm gonna give you a hint, and it's not a big hint. It's a very little hint. I'm going to tell you this because well, you know what? No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to give you any hints. I lied to you.
Okay, got it.
I'm going to put it in parentheses because I think this is what
And this is same question, but for you?
Who I would have headline my festival.
Got it.
1, 2, 3, Philip. Oh, you said Chance the Rapper. Yeah. Okay, so I said Andre 3000. I thought you were going to say Childish Gambino.
That was almost my guess. But then I thought it's too easy. There's no way it's that.
My hint was going to be I'm not going to write that.
Yeah.
So Chance the Rapper, here's what I'll say. Chance the Rapper, amazing. Big Day, Jesus Christ.
Oh, awful album.
Well, here's the thing. I loved All Night. I thought All Night was a great song. And there was one that he did with In Vogue that was kind of fun. But yeah, that was a terrible album. Yeah. And so I would be scared he'd play stuff off of that.
I think he knows better at this point.
Like if he were just doing acid rap, I would be like,
acid rap and coloring book. But I feel like most artists in general have at least one bad album.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think it's as maligned as that one.
No, there are very few albums that are as bad and hated as The Big Day. And I say that as someone that loves Chance.
I love Chance. I still love Chance. And I think he's coming back. You know, once he got divorced, we're going to get old Chance again.
Yeah.
New wife, new life. But I chose Andre 3000 because I think that in the conversation around hip hop now, I feel like people just tend to forget how good Outkast was. I think
amazing.
There's revisionist history where everyone's like, "Who's your top 5 favorite rappers?" And people are like, "Okay, it's Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Kendrick Lamar." You know, no one's saying MF Doom, no one's saying Outkast, no one's saying any of that. Those names don't come up anymore. No one's saying Rakim, none of that. Now it's all the same names, you know. And I'm a New Yorker, so I am also going to throw DMX in that list.
Yeah,
like no one's throwing that stuff in there. So I love Andre 3000 minus this weird flute situation.
Yeah, which I think is so funny.
It's amazing.
I think people wanted him to drop a solo album for decades, and I love that he's like, okay, I'm gonna, but it's me playing the flute.
Don't you want to, as a comic, okay, so you already, and you can put the board down. That's the whole segment. You did great. We didn't get a single point, but you did great. You can put it on the table. You don't have to keep it here. I don't want you to feel hamstrung by the board. I was going to say, you have already released a special, but it's almost like, don't you want to now just be like, and my next special is silence.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 30 minutes of silence. But I do want to talk about the special a little bit. Amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I loved it. I watched it. To be perfectly honest, I didn't watch it right before this. I watched it actually way back when it was out.
Thanks.
I should have rewatched. But I saw it originally. Amazing. How do I put this? How the fuck did you choose that topic and you're like, I'm going to go all in on this? That's fucking insane.
It is kind of insane.
And sorry, for those listening at home, can you just tell them a little bit about this special?
The premise of the special, it's called All My Friends Are Dead, and it's about it's what it sounds like. Yeah. By the way, that's a hip hop reference title. That's a reference to Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh, Jesus.
Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead.
I
was wondering if anyone would catch it.
Well, clearly I didn't, and I wish I had.
But I also just thought it'd be a
sorry.
funny
You know
title.
what? Our producer, Jude, just raised his hand. He got it.
See? I like him. So it's what it sounds like. I had 2 best friends since childhood, and they were twins, and they both passed away, and the whole special is about them. It's like about their deaths and a tribute to them. So their names were Tucker and Ellie. Tucker passed when I was 8, made me and Ellie closer, and she was like a sister to me, and she passed in 2021, so when I was 28. And when she passed away, I started writing a lot of jokes about her death, not because I wanted to make a special about it, but just because, you write jokes about the things you're thinking about.
Yeah, I would do that.
So I was writing a lot of jokes about it, and I think I had gotten enough material out of it. So I put all the material together and made a short form special with it.
Was there no part of you that was like, there could be backlash? Me talking about two friends that died as comedy.
The only reason I wasn't concerned about that is because I'm friends with their family friends. So I got their family's permission. I'm close with their sister and their mom.
Okay.
So I called their sister and their mom and ran the idea by them and was just like, would you be insulted? Is this okay? And they both liked the idea.
Oh, wow.
So because of that, I wasn't afraid of, pissing people off.
What was any part of the equation as you were thinking about doing this, like, will this like be my brand as a comedian now? Is like, I'm the edgy, I'm the darker comic, I'm the edgy comic, I'm the moody comic.
Yeah, that was definitely a concern. A bigger concern is the special has moments that, for lack of a better word, get kind of poignant or sad just for a second. It's not like a one-man show, but for like 5 seconds, it's kind of poignant. I was afraid of something kind of different where people would see that and think all my comedy is like deep and poignant.
So you were the Hassan Minhaj of White Boys.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That someone would see me live after seeing that special and expect deep shit about trauma or something. I'm just talking about Eminem and dicks. And stuff
that's
like
what
that.
I'm always waiting for.
Yeah.
When I see you. Yeah, I mean, I think there's like, what I like about what my experiences with you as a comic is like, there's kind of nothing off limits. You've talked about like bipolar on stage. I've heard you talk about that, and I hope that's okay for me to mention.
Oh yeah,
here.
Of course, yeah. How dare you?
I'm a piece of but like you never get into these topics in a way that feels super heavy. Like I never feel like you're talking about this stuff and I'm like, I gotta fucking put on my trauma vest for this shit. Like, it's never like that.
That I've tried to make sure it's not like that. I never wanted it to feel like a one-man show where it's like, this is the part where he gets sad and, tears up and we all get emotional.
Tuesday, 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I walk in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, that going back to touring with those guys, that's actually a note Mencia gave me. The story about going to the mental hospital, that's in the special, but that's a joke I wrote in like 2013-ish, I think. But like, it was a very rough joke, and I tried it on a show with Mencia, but I was doing the deep thing where I was talking in my normal way. But then when I got to the mental hospital, I like slowed down and I got real because this is a serious story, and it completely killed the set. Like, destroyed the energy. It was a disaster. And Mencia goes, if you're going to talk about something that's really dark, personal, depressing, deliver it like it's any other joke. Because he had a joke he was doing at the time, and I think it's fine to say this because he put this in a special. He had a joke about getting abused by a priest.
Oh.
And it was really dark, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, how the fuck did you talk about that and make it funny? He was like, if you just talk about it like it's any other topic. Don't tell the audience it's about to get real sad. So that's what I tried to do with the special.
That is like really great advice. I for a while had a very dark 15-minute set after my dad died because I was like, my dad would have wanted me making jokes about that.
Yeah, oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? Very similar to what you were talking about. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get into this. But like, a lot of people will just pull back.
Yeah, and on a human level, it is hard to talk about it on stage without getting emotional. So there's even a little bit of acting to it. But instead of it being like, a play where you're pretending to be sad, you're kind of pretending to not be sad about it so you can get them on board with the joke.
Yeah, I think doing jokes about my dad's death helped me deal with it.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah.
It was my way of processing it. Yeah, and then people like get all weird about it. When people come up afterward and be like, I'm so sorry about your loss, I'm like, did you do it?
Turns out they did.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
you've been doing comedy to find your dad's killer.
Yeah, you put pancreatic cancer into him.
We got him.
Fucking monster. I do think that your story, in particular, about you doing stand-up at a mental hospital. The thing that I love about that story is like let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. When you're like, you want your jokes to be jokes that only work when you tell them. Mm-hmm. Who the fuck's gonna have that joke?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, what a fucking good. I'm not trying to like make light of your history. What a fucking good premise to have,
And I mean, and it's true for those of you that are watching. When I was in the mental hospital, I mentioned that I did stand-up, and one of the counselors thought it'd be a fun idea for me to do stand-up doing group therapy, and it was terrible. It was awful.
You know, you can't win
but
every
I mean,
audience.
There's no world where that would go well. Imagine if I was like, and then I destroyed. It was the best show of my life.
Well, how many people were even in that room?
Yeah, like, I want to say like 10.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm going to say, for people that are listening that are not comics, you need to understand this. It is harder to make a group of 10 people laugh than it is to make a group of 1,000 people laugh.
Unquestionably. And especially if it's 10 people in a mental hospital. Like, they're in this room because they're suicidal.
And they're like, you're making it worse, Drew. Stop it.
And they came to this group therapy to talk about their problems, and instead they're going to watch a guy talk about Tinder.
I wish someone were in the room who just like, they're like, okay, I was feeling suicidal before. Put me on watch because this set,
They give me the light.
Oh my
They're like,
God.
come on, wrap it up.
Oh my God. If someone in group gave you the light, I would have fucking died. That is, I mean, that in itself is a great premise. Yeah. You know, you're doing jokes in a mental hospital and group therapy, and someone gives you the light. who, by the way, didn't know what the light was. They just knew this feels right.
They knew instinctively, like, I feel like I should do this.
Let me flash this light at the back, make sure he sees it. I do think that's incredible. Did you only did it that one time, I think, right? And you were like, I'm never doing that shit again.
Oh, the stand up in the mental hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Am I crazy? I would imagine you're not going to get back up.
I made that my new thing.
Yeah.
I tour mental hospitals.
Listen, if it pays well enough, I'll do it.
Yeah.
There's nowhere. If someone, okay, the only place I'd say I'd be scared to do this is in a prison. But like,
you know what? I did do stand up in a prison, and that was actually amazing.
What the fuck is your life? Wait,
it was this like.
Do I know this? I don't think I knew this.
It was like this charity type thing, this organization that puts on shows at prisons because the prisoners have nothing to do. And it was a comedy show at a prison, and it was genuinely amazing.
Can I ask a really offensive question?
Yeah, of course.
Were you like gated or like protected from?
No, it was outdoors, but we weren't. I think it was the nonviolent offenders, or the people that have been behaving well. But I saw one of my favorite moments ever at a comedy show. I wish I could remember the comic's name. I can't. But this woman was doing a set and roasting all of them and killing. I was up first. I didn't even mention I was at a prison because I didn't want to like try to riff and boo.
Yeah,
but.
That's what I was asking. Are you protected?
But
even by chicken wire.
It turns out they liked when you made fun of them, and this one comic is just roasting the shit out of them, killing. And this one convict gets up to leave, not in an angry way, just like he had somewhere to be, I guess. And she goes, "Where the fuck are you going? Home?" And I literally couldn't breathe. It's like one of my favorite moments I've ever seen at a show.
Tell me he laughed.
Oh, he cackled. Yeah.
I mean, that's fucking hilarious. What? How the fuck did that opportunity come into your lap? Where they're like, "Hey, Drew, want to come to a prison?"
There's this comic. Do you know Michael Coyler?
No.
I think he was the one that put it on, and he hit me up about it.
And was there any part of you that was like, I don't know about that?
He was so comfortable and confident about it that I didn't really think twice about it until I was there. That's when it dawned on me, like, this is weird. And I also Ubered there, and it was so weird to Uber to a prison.
You Ubered to a fucking prison, Drew? What is wrong with you?
And I didn't
believable.
I just put the address in, and I didn't mention it was a prison to the Uber driver. So then once we were pulling up, he's like, "Is this a prison?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I mentioned I was like, "I'm here for a comedy show." He's like, "You're here for a like everything I said made it more confusing for him."
I also find it difficult to imagine, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that calling the Uber to get back from the prison was a hard car to get. Like, who the fuck is like, "Ooh, no, I don't think so."
Who escapes from prison that easily, but then takes an Uber?
I would die. If someone was like, "Yeah, I just broke out." Yeah. Sorry, do you need to make a stop? I know I put in just one stop. It's on the way.
No, another one of the comics gave me a ride home. But I didn't, on my way, I gotta wipe my tears. That made me laugh really hard. But on my way, I had the thought, like, it's going to be really weird if I just try to Uber back.
Yeah. I cannot even fucking believe that. How recently was this? Was this like the past 5 years?
This was 2019. So, yeah, 5 years ago.
That feels like yesterday, but I know it's 5 years ago. Gee, that is unfucking believable. I feel like there's nothing we're going to ever talk about that's better than this. So I feel like we should jump into the lightning round. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the lightning round. It's 5 fast questions. They do not at all have to be fast answers. They're the last 5 questions we end every episode with. I put this on an index card because this is as close as I'm going to get to being a late night talk show host. I know all these questions. I could throw this in the crowd.
You don't. It's a prop.
I just like having it.
It's a blank paper.
Can I tell you, I also like motioning. I motion with it. That's a big part of it. Okay, so question 1. What is a favorite ritual of yours? So, for example, I love brewing tea. That's a ritual I really enjoy.
My favorite ritual is, it goes back to Red Bull, actually, but in the morning on a Saturday and Sunday, I like to sit on my patio, drink a Red Bull, and listen to music.
That actually sounds great.
Yeah, and just kind of like chill, think. That's my favorite ritual.
I love that. I mean, I'll be honest. I can't drink Red Bull, but if you replace that with like an iced coffee,
yeah,
I'm down. And on a side note, by the way, I recently, in the past several years, learned that as much as I enjoy an iced coffee in the U.S., if you ask for an iced coffee in a lot of places in Europe, they're going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
I've heard that.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't. I guess it's a cultural thing. I don't know.
I just wanted to open with that. I wanted to share. I want to put that in the lightning round. All right, question 2. What is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Oh, that's hard. Me and my girlfriend have so many. I'm trying to think. Or we were talking about Grant Mueller earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a long-winded story.
Former comic Grant Mueller.
Yeah, former comic, one of my best friends. You ever have a story that's really funny to you and your friend? You don't know if it'll translate?
Yeah, my whole life.
Yeah. Here's the quick version of the story that became an inside joke. This was, I think in 2019, we're at the comedy open mic at Tao.
Oh!
And there was a comic on stage who we hadn't seen before or since, who was like in his 70s and was being really funny, but in ways that were on accident. So he was doing really dated premises, not realizing they're dated, and then his setups would get laughs, and he would get mad at the laughter because it wasn't supposed to be funny yet. Like he starts a joke, he goes, "So CDs, right?" And Grant starts cracking up, and he goes, "Shut up, that's not the funny part." And he goes, "So, did you guys hear about this whole Bill Cosby thing?" It had been, Bill Cosby was like in prison at the time. It had been 5 years since the story. And then he goes even further. He goes, for those of you that don't know, we all knew it was 2019. Bill Cosby got in trouble because he would bring women up to his hotel room. He would give them a drink that had roofies in it. They'd fall asleep, and he'd fuck them while they were asleep. I've never done that, but I did one time take a woman up to my hotel room, showed her my ID picture, and it was so bad that she fell asleep. What's up with these bad ID pictures? And then it was a joke about ID pictures.
What in the ever-loving fuck?
Long, horrifying, unnecessary journey to talk about bad ID pictures.
Jesus Christ.
So I tell that unnecessary story to say that every now and then me and Grant will just randomly text each other, or we'll text each other, "So CDs, ... Or did you hear about this whole Bill Cosby thing?"
Jesus Christ. I fucking love that. It's funny because a lot of people that have not done comedy don't necessarily know that there are a collection of I'm trying to think of like really nice way to put this, a collection of far out people, kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs individuals that like pop up around the comedy scene in the city. Like there are some names that, like, this is not at all an exhaustive list, but like Mystery Dan, Ohio Dave, Leisure Suit Larry, like all these kind of wackadoodles who are just like, you get this list of people and you're like, it's hard to understand it if you're not in comedy. Like, this is a normal thing.
It's characters you run into.
And they're not being, this is kind of them. And they're weird as
shit. Oh, yeah,
shit.
they're not being characters. Yes.
Yeah,
They're being sincere.
Sincerely wacky. Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion that you have?
I think it's okay to separate the art from the artist.
Oh. Yeah. Is there a particular artist where you feel okay making that separation?
Honestly, Woody Allen is the first one that comes to mind. Now, granted, for years I was a huge Woody Allen fan and in denial about what he did.
Oh, I see.
And then the documentary came out. If you ever saw it, Allen
I did not.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
But it essentially proves he's guilty, and that's what knocked me out of my denial. But then, like, I rewatched, I think it was Midnight in Paris, like 6 months ago, and I was just like, I still love this movie.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting. This is so convenient for me to say. A lot of people that have been canceled recently, I don't love their stuff. So for me, it's not that hard. I regularly make the joke in this house when there's an artist I love. I go, now, if that person gets in trouble that's going to really suck for me.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, right? Like, I'm wearing a Childish Gambino sweatshirt right now. I love Childish Gambino. If he does something really fucking horrible, that's going to really fuck up
I'd be devastated.
my year. The line I drew for myself, and this is not fair, this is not logical, is that if enjoying the entertainment of the individual is going to put a lot of money in that individual's pocket, I try not to do it.
Yes, and that makes sense. That's fair.
Right. So, like, for example, I was in an argument with someone the other day because they were like, so you'll listen to Michael Jackson, but you won't listen to Kanye. And I was like, well, number one, if I listen to Kanye, it's going to put more money in his pockets where he can get up and say much more anti-Semitic Nazi shit on with a huge platform. Michael Jackson's dead.
Yeah, he's been for many years.
Yeah, what is he gonna do?
And it is weird because I say that, but it is a case-by-case basis where I used to love Kanye. Him I can't listen to anymore. So I guess there are some people where I can separate the art from the artist. Some I can't. And there's not really rhyme or reason to it. Just some people I can, like Louis C.K. I thought Louis C.K. was a genius, but it is hard for me to enjoy his comedy now just because so much of it is about jerking off.
Yeah, and you're like, you've made it clear you enjoy this.
Yeah, he's returning to the scene of the crime.
What a way to put that.
Yeah.
All right, question 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there one particular moment that really sticks with you?
Oh, honestly, all the time. I don't even know where to start.
Oh, you don't know?
Nonstop. Oh, yeah. Imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Oh, all the time. Especially when I first came to LA. If I were to choose a specific instance, I'd say just my first few months in LA.
You were like, I don't fucking belong here.
Exactly. Well, just going to mics and or I remember I came here and I'd go to the mic at the Comedy Store, and I'd also go to watch shows at the Comedy Store, and I'd watch these amazing shows in the main room with all these big names and be like, who the fuck do I think I am trying to perform in this same building? There'd be a lot of that.
Yeah, I deal with that. I remember I was at the Comedy Store and I saw a set by Greg Fitzsimmons, who I used to watch on Comedy Central, and I was just watching him, and he did so well, and I was just like,
oh, yeah. Sometimes you'll see a comic so good they make your imposter syndrome worse.
Yeah, I've seen comics before where I was like, are we doing the same thing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
It's like you're just in a different universe.
Yeah, I either I suck at this or you're great, and my fear is it's both.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Please don't let it be both.
Yeah, please don't let it be both. Question 5, final question. What is your favorite tea? And I know you're not a big tea drinker, so if not that, what is your favorite comfort?
I don't know if this counts, but getting iced tea at a restaurant. Is that a specific?
You can do that.
Like with a bunch of sweetener in it.
There's no rules here.
You're like, absolutely not.
I was like, listen, you fuckface. No. I think that's great. So like sweetened iced tea at a restaurant.
Yes.
Excellent. Do you ever do an Arnold Palmer?
Every now and then.
Oh, you're too
not a lot,
too
but
good for the Palmer?
I just prefer normal iced tea.
I respect it. Listen, it's a great answer. Well, that's the pod, man. How do you feel?
Great. Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Of course, and we'll have you back for a solely hip-hop satirical edition.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That was Drew Landry. You can find him on Instagram at Mr. Drew Landry and on TikTok at Drew Landry. This episode was produced by Jude Crowner. It was edited by Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco. Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepconvos. I'm Josh Lanzet, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzet. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping. I remember once I heard her in an interview. She goes, listen, my opener, Drew Landry.
As soon as I got rid of him, things took off.
Yeah, because everyone, they would come to my shows and be like, ugh, is this the guy from like DJ Booth? And
Yeah,
I would always be
is
like,
this the fucking Gambino guy?
ugh.